Hey everybody, this is Joe over at Synergy 17, and today I'm going to work on a design that someone had posted in the Teach Me That Facebook group. They basically just kind of asked how would I layer this in vinyl, what would be the process. So instead of just doing the vinyl section of it and pressing it, let me show you how I'd actually create it. And this is kind of my thought process because all I did was post a small um, little image. So let's start. I'll show you what it looks. It actually is about this big, and first thing I have to do is take it from a JPEG and from a bitmap and change it into a vector artwork. So Corel has a tracing feature. Illustrator has a tracing feature. Oobling has a vectorizing feature, and some of the other ones out there as well. But my favorite is Vector Magic. It does a really good job. It's kind of expensive, but it does a really good job, and it does only one job. So I'm looking at this, and the first thing I want to do is I kind of look at it and think about how many colors are going to be in it, and so we can narrow it down and how fuzzy. So it's got blended edges here. It has it's anti-aliased, which is the blending of the edges, the colors, the little dots there. It's asking me how blurry it is, and I think it's pretty blurry. So I'm just going to go with medium. It's asking me how many colors. Like I said, I want to do white, gray, black, red, and blue. So 5 colors. And here's the color palette, and actually chose the 5 colors. So I'll hit next. And after its first run, we're going to kind of look at what it looks like and maybe do a little bit of editing if needed. Okay, as I look at this, I see a couple things that need to get fixed. There's a little jaggy here, a little jaggy right there, one right there. There's this blue spot, this gray. The teeth right here need to get fixed. I can flip back and forth from the original to the vectorized version. It's not too bad, but I'm going to fix a couple things. So I'm going to edit results, take my pencil, and I'm going to fix that jaggy right there, fix that jaggy right there. I want this to be black, so I'm going to choose black, fill that part in, fill that part in. I want this to be white over here, so I'm going to fill that part in. I need to fix the teeth, so I'm going to add this right here, and let's take a look at what it looks like. Fix some of this stuff. Trying to make it look like the original. Let's see. Fix this line right there. Don't want these touching. Let's move that out a little bit. Same thing with right there. And you could always undo. Like if I took out too much, I could put all this back. Oops. So that out. So far it looks pretty good. I have a little jaggy right there. Let's get rid of that. Look at everything else. Let's see. If we don't want to clean this, we can fix this here. And if I don't want that little part going up there, actually I kind of like that, so I'm going to undo that. I'll put that back. Okay. So anyways, I think it looks fine. Check that teeth right there. Let's do one more thing. Round this tooth out a little bit. And this one as well. That's good enough. So I'm going to update this. Say update. Okay. Looks good. I see one little jaggy right there, but I can fix that in the EPS, or I can fix it in here. If I want to fix it in here, I'm just going to go back in here, grab the pencil, remove that, update it one more time. Okay, looks good to me. I'm going to go to the next page. Or I can remove my background if I really don't want this. I can delete that. Next, and next, and I'm going to save this as a AI file, or I can save it as all kinds of other formats, DXF, EMF, but I'm going to go for EPS. And I'm going to save it, overwrite my original. Alrighty, and now I'll go ahead and I'll start the other application and I'll bring this design into it. Okay, now that the skull has been saved as a piece of vector art as an EPS, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use Oobling for this example. You can use Corel, WinPC, Illustrator, or whatever you have, but I'm going to use Oobling. So I'm going to go ahead and import that file. Let's see if I can find it. Skull hat. Bring it in. So there it is. And as you can see, when I first started, it was only 3.3 inches wide. So I'm going to make it about 8 inches tall. So 8.5 inches tall. Makes it 7 inches wide. So by default, it's already broken up into all its pieces. The white, the gray, blue, red, and black. But what I want to do is when I press this, I need it to be trapped just a little bit. And the reason I want it trapped is because if I try to lay the black down and then when I go to lay the red right on top of it, it might not fit in there because this line is cut exactly, and then might have the shirt might stretch a little bit, and I will see a gap in there. So I'm gonna do a little bit of work on this. Multiple ways to do this, but this is the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the black as my back layer, and since my shirt's gonna be white, I'm not even gonna worry about this white right now. That's not even gonna be a color I'm gonna lay down. But I still need to. I won't even need to punch it through. This one will actually be fine. The white right there, I can use that. So let's start by taking this black piece here, and the first thing I want to do is I want to make it full, like a solid line. Right now you can see that it's got all these holes in it, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock my white, red, gray, and blue, so it's locked, so I can't touch it. I'm going to take the black, and I'm going to break the path. So that way, I basically took all these little pieces out right here. I'm going to throw those away. So I can do that by grabbing them all and hitting delete. So now I just have this shadow basically. Alright, now I'm going to unlock all these layers, move the black to the background so I can see. Now for the black and white, that's the easiest one. Since there is no contour, there's no overlapping on white, it's just going to be the shirt. I'm going to take the white, the black, and I'm going to use the weld tool, and I'm going to punch it through. So what I just did was I punched that through. Now you can see the background, and here's the white. I don't need it any longer. I'm going to delete it. On these other ones, I'm actually want to underlap a little bit, so I'm going to do something a little bit different on these. What I want to do on these is I'm going to select, let's see how I want to do this. I'm going to actually hold shift, and I'm going to regroup all the black parts. I'm going to make path so I have all the blacks back together again. Move it back to the background. Okay. Now I want all these other pieces. So I should have all the pieces but the black. And that's them right there. What I want to do is I'm going to outline just a little bit. So we'll watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do an inline, just a tad. I'll choose another color so you can see what's happening here. I'm going to bring this in, and that's as much, and what you're seeing between that little gap you're seeing, the red, the blue, that gray over here, that's how far I'm going to overlap. So you can see I'm at 0.04. If I want to go a little bit more, that should be good right there. I'm going to hit close. So now I have this blue here, which is, let me show you what this is. It's a copy, just about a copy of every piece that was in it, but it's shrunken a little bit. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to punch that hole through the black. So I'm going to hold shift and choose all the blue, hold shift and choose the black, and then I'm going to weld those. Okay, so I still have that in there, but now what I want to do is I'm going to take the blue, which I just shrunk, I'm going to throw it in the garbage because I don't need it. And now if I look at the wireframe, you should see that this blue here overlaps the black just a little bit here, if that makes sense. Let me see if I can click off of it. See, right there, it's not exactly fitting in it, it's a little bit overlapping. Same thing with the red. The red's a little bit overlapping. It's not the exact same sizing anymore, and it should be the same with the gray. So as you can see, I got that little bit. So that way it's trapped just a little bit. So in case the shirt has stretch on it, you won't see that gap. Now that that's all done, I'll go ahead and save my document, and then I'll send each piece to the cutter. I'll send the blue, the black. There is no white anymore. I just have 4 pieces: the black, the blue, the gray, and the red. I'll send all 4 of those to the cutter, and then we'll go to the heat press and we'll press them all. Here's a quick additional tip. If you wanted to add rhinestones around it, all we have to do is really take the black part here, go to transform, contour object, and we can set how far away from the edge of the black we want. So I can go out a little bit, right about there. I can ungroup the objects, and now I should have this pink part here, and I can apply stones around the edge of that. Choose some blue stones, and I can space them out or do whatever I want, and when I'm done, throw the pink away. And that's a quick way of adding rhinestones around your object. Okay, so I just cut the skull and the hat out, and since the tech stack material is about 19 inches wide, I was able to fit the skull, black part, the bones, the blue part of the hat, and then the little red bandana, all in about, let's see, about 9 inches of material. So 9 inches is what I use. So the width of 19 and 9 inches in. So I'm going to go ahead and slice it up into pieces and weed it all out. Okay, I'm done with the weeding. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press all my different materials here, and I'm going to do the whole thing in foil. So we have the skull here, which I'll do in black. I have the hat here, which I'll do in blue. There's a little bandana piece that's really tiny, I'll do in red. And then the bones I'm going to do in like a brushed metal. So I'll go ahead and start, but just want to show you why you don't throw away your material, your scraps, because here was something I used for a distressed look, and since the bandana portion is very tiny, really small, I just cut this little sliver off because it's big enough for what I need to cover it. So always keep your scraps. Same thing, I found this little piece of scrap of this brushed silver. I'm going to use this to do the bones. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, the first part I want to press is the skull. So I'm going to go ahead and just place him on the middle here, and I'll move my foil aside, and we'll get to that part. We're going to press it for 5 seconds. this is a warm or hot peel, so I'm going to go ahead and peel this away. Get this away in a bit. A little piece of fuzz here, I'm going to take this off. Okay. Alrighty, so I know you probably can't see it, but it's just like a glossy white right now. So I'm going to take the black here and I'm going to place over it. So I want to make sure I have my whole graphic there, which should be, here's, I don't know if you can see it here, but here's the bone edge, so I want to put that here. Top of the hat is right up here, and the bottom is here, so this piece of foil should fit on it. It's normally a 10-second press, but since I'll be pressing over it, I'm just going to press maybe about 6 or 7 seconds. And I have to remind you that this is a cold peel, so you want to do whatever, either you're going to set it aside or speed up the cooling process. So I'm going to do that by placing it on my laser over here. I'm going to cool it off since the metal's cold. Feels nice and cold now. So I'm going to peel this part off. So even though I use this much, I still have lots of little pieces right here and everywhere else I might be able to use. So I'll go ahead and save this. So we have the first piece all done. So now for me, it doesn't really matter. I cut all the pieces earlier you saw in the video. I made everything a little bit bigger so I can set it anywhere I want. I could do this part of the hat, the bandana. It doesn't really matter. So just grab the hat here. And I'm going to turn it sideways so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to place it on here. See right about, oops. There. Looks good to me. And I guess I really could do some of this other stuff I want if I could do the silver here, but I'm going to go ahead and wait. I'll show you how to do it in multiple presses. So at this point, it's up to you. You could put a cover sheet on if you feel like you want to protect the upper part of your platen. I have a platen cover, but you could put a piece over it if you'd like, and it'll protect it. But I'm okay with this right now. So, once again, it's only a 5-second press. So I'm going to hot peel this. Okay, I know you really can't see it, but it's there. So, at this point, you would put your foil back over. So we're going to go ahead and grab the blue. Alrighty, so here's my piece of foil. I want to make sure I can hit this part and all those parts wherever it's supposed to be. So I'm going to put that there. And we're going to press it. Same thing, usually 10 seconds, but I'm just going to do about 7 seconds or so. Same process. I want to usually let it cool, but I'm going to cool it off quicker. I'm going to peel this off here. So same thing. Lots of blue left here that I can use. So far you can see the second step. Got the blue on there. I'll do the red because it's pretty tiny. Actually, I can probably do both of these at the same time. So I'm going to do the red right here, and I'll go ahead and do the bones since it's pretty far enough to split my colors. So I'm going to turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing. And all I'm doing right now is making sure I trap this, because if you can see right here, I have a little bit of overlap. Some parts are a little bit thinner, some parts are a little bit more, but my whole goal is to trap it so if there's stretches, you won't see that undercoating of it. So, looks good. I'm going to press this. I'll go ahead and cover it this time. Oops. Give it about 5 seconds. I'm going to peel this one. I'm going to put the small one up here. Now, this time you saw me separate, do 2 different ones, but this time, since I have this up here and this down below, I think I can press the red without affecting the silver part. So I'm going to go ahead and put this little piece of red, make sure I can get it right here and cover this design. And then hopefully this is big enough to cover both pieces. And like I said, if I want to really get smart about this, I could cut a little sliver off. I'll go ahead and do that. I'll cut a little sliver, maybe this much, to cover just this part here. And then I just need another sliver to cover this part. So I'm going to cut this right around here. So see, instead of wasting all of this, I just cut little pieces off. And I'll put this to cover here and here, just like that. So we'll be able to get the foil on this part of his hat, and then we'll get the silver on, see if you can see it, on this part of the bone. So get that in one, cover it again. This time I'll do a complete 10-second press. And once again, we're going to want to cool it. And there are other methods of cooling it, whether you spray cold air on it, or you take something else I do once in a while, is I take a book, or just something, I mean a piece of metal would be way better, a cookie pan, anything, you just want to draw the heat from it. So, just trying to cool it down quick. And then we're going to peel this one. Peel this one. Peel this one. So something I can see that has happened here is that I have little speckles of it that got on other areas, and I'm just kind of scratching them. They will come off. The reason they're stuck is because this black here did get warm. So it's like right here, I have little speckles of the silver, and that usually means that there's a little bit of tackiness on it. So I guess if we're going to layer this, we're going to want to cut a little bit more around so we don't get pieces on this, but that'll be okay. I mean, just for this example. But at least, you know, next time I know, I'll be a little more careful on how I lay this stuff out. But as you can see, it came out pretty cool. Let me see if you guys can see this. So move it back a little bit. Let's see right there. So anyways, that's how you do a multicolor one. Like I said, when I first did the black, I didn't have any problems, and I did the blue. Then I noticed I got a little speckle of the silver right here on my black, which means that the black probably got a little sticky, because like I said, it'll only stick where it's sticky. But overall, it came out pretty good.